Now to Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP and Solana price. Ladies and gentlemen, will we see a rise in the Bitcoin price towards $70,000 in the coming weeks? And can we expect a correction of the crypto market after that? Or is this crypto market correction happening now in the time ahead? Let's start with the Bitcoin price. After that, we will discuss new positions and we will also discuss a few events that will soon affect the price. In the last videos, we discussed that we have a flag formation here. And as you can see, the Bitcoin price has reached the first price target. Now the question arises, is the Bitcoin price heading towards $70,000 in the coming weeks, or will we soon see a correction at least towards $55,000, perhaps even towards 40? We will discuss this in detail shortly. I will first show you the events that will soon affect the price. In the last videos, we discussed that the unemployment figures will have an impact on the Bitcoin price. Unemployment has fallen. In that sense, it is positive, but on the other hand, it is also negative. I will explain to you why in a moment. We have the inflation figures on July 14th. Inflation should go down so that the Bitcoin price can rise. However, should inflation go up, because inflation did go up due to the fact that there were confrontations between America and Iran, that is why the Bitcoin price also went down, because inflation has risen too sharply recently. That means inflation has to go down. Therefore, unemployment should actually go up and inflation go down so that the Fed can lower interest rates. On July 29th, we have the Fed decision, and should inflation go up, meaning if it is higher than 4.2, it could happen that the Fed does not lower interest rates. And if they even raise interest rates, that would be very negative for the cryptocurrency market. This means that we could then see another correction due to the Fed decision and the inflation figures. On July 9th, starting July 9th, we have the quarterly earnings of American companies. The quarterly earnings of American companies will last about a month. Last time in April, the quarterly earnings of American companies pushed the cryptocurrency market up. Therefore, they will last about a month. That is how the flag formation works in theory. The price goes down, forms the flag, and then the price goes down again. And that is the triangle formation. I will show you in a moment why the triangle formation has significance. Always in the last, not in the last videos, but in the last months, we discussed that we had a triangle formation here. That was in the month of February when the Bitcoin price was still in the range of $90,000. And we discussed with you the support zones. They were on the right side. They still play a very strong role. These support zones tell us where we, so to speak, have support and where the Bitcoin price could stop. So that is what the situation looks like now. We knew that we had a support zone between 70 and 55,000. Between 55 and 45,000, we had no support zone. That means a large support zone is in the 45 to 40,000 range. And the next somewhat strong support zone would be in the $29,000 to $20,000 range. What does that mean now? So once again, as a reminder, we had the triangle formation here. Back then, the price reached the first price target. After that, this flag formed. This flag is still valid. The first price target was reached. The second price target from this yellow flag has not yet been reached. That is in the 45,000 range. Why is 45,000 in play? As I just showed you, we have no support zone here between 55 and 45. That means if the Bitcoin price does not hold 55, for example, if it corrects due to the quarterly figures, because last time the quarterly figures pushed the price up, that was here in the month of April. Here the quarterly figures came out, then the Bitcoin price turned around, but that does not mean that the Bitcoin price will go up again because of the quarterly figures. We have to wait about a week to be able to assess what the quarterly figures are like, because the quarterly figures can also have a negative impact on the cryptocurrencies. Therefore, to repeat once again, should the Bitcoin price go down, we have the last support zone here. There is no support zone here. The next one comes here. The support zone would end here in the 40,000 range, and then the next support would be in the $30,000 range. Why does that matter? Well, you can roughly determine when the bull market could begin. You can see blue lines here. These blue lines are trend lines. Also, please note how it was here. Here, the Bitcoin price went down from the blue line, then it broke through the blue line and the price went up. How was it in the year 22? Here, the Bitcoin price went down from the blue line, then a flag formed here as well. Then the price went down again, and at the moment, the price broke through it. Then a rise in the Bitcoin price followed. Not immediately, by the way. There was still a very small correction here. And then from January 23, we saw a bull market. What does this mean now? If you apply this information to the price, it means the following. So let's assume, maybe you can remember, I told you in the last videos, most likely a consolidation will happen here. In principle, this consolidation is happening. The Bitcoin price has stopped again at these red lines for now. The red lines were resistance zones. We discussed them with you here when the price was there. So the probability is definitely there that it will go back down, but at some point it will break through these red lines. It is not the case that it goes down from these red lines every single time, but we are interested in when could the bull market begin? Where could one open a new position? Let's assume the Bitcoin price rises. Then we have a resistance zone in the 70,000 area. From this zone, there is again a high probability that the price will go down. Should the Bitcoin price consolidate here above this blue line, then one could possibly consider opening a long position. You could also try a long position from here, but if you see the price doesn't hold 55, then then you should rather close the position, or perhaps you look to this support zone in the hope that this is the end of the bear market. So the end of the bear market could be in the range of $40,000 to $40,000. Or let's assume the price drops towards 40,000, then a consolidation will occur here, and then the Bitcoin price could break through the blue line around October. That means in the month of October, we could see a new bull market. If the Bitcoin price then drops again, let's assume from this blue line, then one could consider opening a new position at the end of December or perhaps early January, because the bull market could begin here. So we need a breakthrough of this blue line. That is very important to understand. The price should consolidate above this blue line, then the probability of a bull market is very high. So what is currently happening with the Ethereum price? In the last videos, we discussed how that we have a flag formation here. The first price target was reached, then a sideways movement followed. The second price target is down here. You can see green lines here, red lines, and blue lines. Let us start with the blue lines, or perhaps I can explain the red lines to you as well. The red lines are global resistance zones. That is the all-time high point. So we do not need those for now. We will need them as soon as we see a market reversal. Why do we need the blue lines? From the blue line, the price went down, then a breakout of this blue line occurred, and then the Ethereum price rose. Here we need a similar situation. As you can see, the price is currently struggling with the blue line. On one hand, this is actually a positive sign, but on the other hand, it means that the probability of a correction is there, and it is not small from such a blue line. So maybe you can, maybe you can see here how the price went down from the blue line. First from the first line and then from the second. So it is best to analyze the Bitcoin price first. We know that the Bitcoin price has not yet broken through its blue line. So the probability that the Bitcoin price corrects is there. Should the Bitcoin price then correct, the Ethereum price will follow. So it is such a crucial point now. Maybe we will see a breakthrough soon. If we see this breakout, for example, due to the quarterly results, then the Ethereum price could land in the $2,250 range. But as I said, I would be very cautious now that the price will go up. There might be another resistance zone here for the Ethereum price because it is like a W formation. From here, there is then the probability that the price will go down. So that would then take a few weeks. But as I said, the probability of a correction in the Bitcoin price is there. It is not small, for example, due to the inflation figures. You can still see green lines here. The green lines are guidelines for you, so you can roughly estimate where the Ethereum price might stop if the Bitcoin price corrects again. Let's assume the Bitcoin price goes towards $50,000, then the Ethereum price will stop here. If the Bitcoin price heads toward $40,000, then the Ethereum price will stop in the $770 range. So maybe you can take a photo. You might need these zones. So right now I would be very cautious with altcoins. In the last videos, we discussed with you that we have a flag formation here. You could also say that there is a triangle formation here. The first price target was in the area of 84 cents. The second price target was in the area of 57 cents. Neither the first nor the second price target was reached. You can see the green lines here. This is basically the same system as with the Ethereum price. That means if the Bitcoin price goes towards $55,000, then the XRP price will stay here. If the Bitcoin price goes towards $45,000, then the XRP price will stay roughly here. So these are guidelines for you. As you can see, the XRP price is also at these red lines. So these red lines, that is an indicator, that is a resistance zone. From these red lines, the probability of a correction is there, so it is not small. So in principle, this correction is currently happening with the XRP price. But as I told you before and repeated several times in the last videos, it is best to analyze the Bitcoin price first. Furthermore, the XRP price is also at this blue line. As we can see, for about a year, the XRP price has been going down from this blue line. Why do we need this blue line? The blue line is a trend line. Here you can see the XRP price went down from the line, then a breakout of this line occurred, then a rise followed, and then an even bigger rise followed. This means we need a breakout of the blue line, a sustainable breakout. So the price should ideally consolidate or stabilize above this blue line, you could also say. Then the probability of a rise is very high. But as I said, you should analyze the Bitcoin price first. It would be better if the Bitcoin price breaks through its blue line, then the probability of a new bull market is very high. So at some point, the Bitcoin price will break through the blue line. I showed you the zones just a moment ago at the beginning of the video. So what is currently happening with the Solana price? In the last videos, we discussed that we had the green lines here. The green lines were the benchmarks for you in case a larger correction happens with the Bitcoin price. I can perhaps zoom in on the situation. Let's assume the Bitcoin price heads towards $60,000, then the Solana price will stay in the $63 range or maybe $62. If the Bitcoin price heads toward $50,000, then the then the Solana price will stay here. If the Bitcoin price heads toward $40,000, then the Solana price heads toward $29. We have a similar a different situation. Here we had a triangle formation. I deleted the triangle formation or a flag formation because it does not really fit. So for Bitcoin, the bull market has to begin with the Bitcoin price, and then I would look at the Solana price. A resistance zone, if we should see an upward move, would be here in the area of $99, but that will only happen together with the Bitcoin price. As we can see, the Solana price is currently going down because the Bitcoin price is going down, because we have another small escalation between America and Iran. I repeat what is important. The inflation figures are very important. They come out on July 14th. Then we have the quarterly figures of the American companies, which last about a month. Last time the price developed positively due to the quarterly figures, but that does not mean that the quarterly figures will have a positive effect on the Bitcoin price this time as well. But we will talk about that later. We have to see how the first quarterly figures turn out. Then we can roughly estimate what the global situation will be like. I thank you all, wish you a pleasant evening, and see you then.